Okay. Don't know if I'm live. Yes, I'm live. Just had to shut the door because there's sirens all over the place. I live downtown, so. Okay, let me see. I got to get Facebook going here. Come on. Live. There we go. Okay, I am live. Oh, something new just came up on Facebook. What? Oh, what that's all about. Anyway, won't worry about that. Okay. Hello, just waiting for everyone to turn up. Where are you from? I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. I just started my live, and I don't know. I live on a busy street, and it's like 4 sirens all going off at the exact same time. So I had to race up and shut the door. Anyway, so I'm just waiting to hear from you. Hello, Ashley. Is that your first name or your first and your second name? Ashley. So, okay. All righty. So I'm just waiting for North Carolina, right? I don't know why I couldn't get that in my head there. NC is North Carolina. Welcome. That's my daughter's name, Amy. And Maine. Hello, Maine. You've been here before. New Jersey, Pennsylvania, PA. Yeah, that's Pennsylvania. Excellent. Okay. Toronto. Oh, you're in Toronto, Virginia. Most of my clients, I get more clients from way overseas than I do in Canada. I don't get a lot of Canadian clients compared to everywhere else. KY, Kentucky. That must be Kentucky. It's on YouTube. New York City, Colorado. Excellent. Colorado. I have this funny feeling I'll get to Colorado one day. I just feel a lot of mountains in that. Another Virginia, Wyoming. They're Wyoming and Colorado. They just sound the same to me. Like I picture the same kind of mountains in that. Wyoming and Colorado. Could be wrong. Tennessee, Georgia, Louisville, Kentucky. Got a client in Louisville. Okay, well, let's get going with the live. I'm going to be talking about school startup also. I've got some notes here because that's happening very soon, certainly in the United States. Here in Canada, it doesn't start until after Labor Day, which is the first weekend in September. But yeah, it starts earlier here in the United States. So a lot of clients are asking me about school startup and that. South Carolina, we live in Barcelona, but visiting New Jersey. Excellent. I might be your next. Debbie Pounding. I actually know what Debbie is. I looked it up after you were on here the other day. You said, we're just sitting here waiting for Debbie. I thought, who's Debbie? It's a hurricane. So I saw that. I shouldn't be laughing. Hurricanes are not funny at all. I don't know why I was laughing. Anyway, sorry about that. Okay, so from Vancouver, Washington. Oh, hello. I'm Vancouver in Canada. Okay, so let's get going with your questions. But first of all, I'll introduce myself. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my 2 boot camp courses, one on toddlers, one on 3 to 12-year-olds, or you can look into coaching. And okay, so let's get going. One thing I'll throw these in later as we get going. I'm going to talk about, I've had a lot of questions lately and messages and that about school startup. So I want to address some of those on here because I don't answer questions anywhere else. I just don't have time. So yeah, it's the only place I answer questions. Okay, or parenting questions. How do we get a 4-year-old to eat new, healthier foods? Oh, do I hate talking about nutrition? because I'm not a nutritionist. So, and I kind of hesitate. But what I do tell you is what I did with my kids. Okay. So, and it's kind of radical. It's not for everybody, but I was kind of a health food nut. Like we had no junk food in the house. So my kids had a choice. You can either eat healthy food or healthy food. There was no ice cream or potato chips waiting for them. So they knew they had to eat healthy. So that's how I did it. It's not very good advice. I mean, but yeah. If they know there's ice cream waiting for them and they know you're going to give in and give it to them, even if they don't eat a healthy meal, they're not going to eat a healthy meal. Yeah. I think dessert was invented to make kids eat vegetables. My kids never had desserts, but I can remember we were visiting Canada once, and my aunt said, well, she had served dessert and my kids didn't eat it. They didn't touch it. She said, well, why aren't you having dessert? And they said, well, we don't eat dessert. And she didn't understand. And I said, yeah, we just don't eat dessert. And my aunt said, what, are they naughty every day? Like she just didn't understand that. I said, no, I said, we just don't eat dessert. So I thought that was funny. Yeah. She just thought that my kids were they were good kids, but she couldn't figure out why they didn't get dessert every night. Okay. But anyway, I know it's radical, but that's what I did with my kids. And also I was really good at sneaking healthy food into stuff because I made everything from scratch. And God, I hate cooking. But anyway, I did it. I would sneak like I could puree spinach or cauliflower or whatever into anything and throw seeds like flax seeds, wheat germ, whatever. I would sneak all that stuff into everything. And I made everything from scratch so I could sneak it in. My son was really little and he said to me, he had pizza out for the very first time out in public somewhere. And he says, the pizza was really weird. The sauce was red. My sauce was brown because it had pureed spinach in it. So yeah, I got really good at sneaking healthy stuff in. But you have to get the percentages just right. Because if they could, especially with stuff like, what was it? I think I put kale in something once and I didn't grind it up well enough or something. It's got a really strong taste. So yeah, you got to be careful. Cauliflower is good because it doesn't have much of a taste. Okay, my 2.5-year-old knows how to pee and poo on the toilet, but does not ask to go. I've tried using treats after she goes, but she still doesn't ask to go. I have to keep bringing her to the toilet constantly. She also gets upset when I ask her if she needs to go. How can I encourage her starting to go? Go together. Say, well, mommy's going to go. You come with me. So go together. I do have a whole potty training course, but sometimes it just takes a while. They're not always going to train. My son trained in 1 day. My daughter was in 2 days. No pull-ups, no night diapers, nothing. But I was already kind of a leader anyway, so it kind of was a little bit easier that way. But yeah, sometimes it just takes longer. And just go with them. Say, mommy's going to go pee. Come on, let's go. Let's have a pee party. Turn it into a positive. The reason they're getting upset is there's something about it. It's a natural human function, and they tend to get upset. And there's a lot of emotions involved in potty. So yeah, I would just make it like fun. Hey, mommy's going to go pee. Come on, let's go. See who can get there fastest. I never understand what upstate New York is. What's upstate New York? Is that like more country? Like, or is it like, I don't know anything about New York. I've been to Manhattan, but I don't know anything. So I guess it would just be, I guess there's a big upstate. Like there must be a lot up there. Never been up that way. But I never quite know what that means. What would be a city in upstate New York? I'm just curious. Is Connecticut upstate New York? Or is that another place? Well, not only am I on the West Coast, but I'm Canadian, so you'll have to excuse my ignorance. Okay. My grandson, too, almost 3, refuses to potty train. Any hints? There's no hint. I've got a whole system on how to do it. Check it out. It's in the link above, and it's called Potty Party. It's one of my mini courses, and it teaches how to potty train. Okay, I'm just going to answer some of these other questions that I've had in my comments, and I thought this is the only place I ever answer questions, parenting questions. This is about going back to school. One of them is, how do you get kids to eat their school lunches? I'm going to tell you a funny story because I'm the last person that can give advice on this. I've said earlier, I'm a real health food nut, so I made everything from scratch. And every single day, I used to tell my kids they hated bread, like they didn't like sandwiches. And I thought, what am I going to give them? You know, so what I did was every single day I made homemade pizzas. And I did something else too. I think I made homemade cookies, but all my stuff had tons of healthy stuff thrown in. Evidently, those pizzas were like they weren't very good. By the time they got to school and everything, they were horrible. I found out years later, my kids told me they never ate them. They threw them in the garbage. So I said to my daughter just today, I said, and they would eat the cookies, but they were really healthy anyway. But I said, well, why didn't you tell me you were throwing them away? And I said, I would have got you croissants or something that you would have liked instead. And she goes, would you have? And I said, no, because they're not healthy, right? Just struck me as funny. So I can't really give advice out in school lunches other than all the standard stuff. Have them help you make it, and have it something that you know that they like and that you can spread something, maybe spread Nutella or something on it, so that they will actually eat, and buy really healthy bread and, try and make it a little bit fun, a little bit. But I was lousy at that, obviously. I'm the last person who can talk about that. Another one was, when the kids get in the car after school and you say, tell me about your day or what happened today, they'll always say nothing. They're just coming down from school, and then you're drilling them on what happened all day. It's the last thing they want to talk about. It'll come out organically later on, okay? So just say, do you have a good day? Yeah, it was fine. What happened? Nothing. Oh, okay. It'll come out later. It's not that nothing happened or that they're upset. They're just coming down off the school. They're going into this after school coma. So just let it go. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, going to school or coming home from school and the kids are fighting in the back seat of the car, right? My kids used to argue in the back seat of the car and I couldn't figure it out, but they'd be up against the door and they'd both be not touching, but they'd be like going like that to each other. And then I realized that's how they said hello. But what I would do is I would say, I don't like your fighting. And I'd pull over and stand by the side of the car for 5 minutes. And they wanted to get home, right? But I'd make them wait for 5 minutes. And then I realized that's how they were saying hello. So are your kids just saying hello, or are they really killing each other? If they're killing each other and you can, just pull over and stand, get outside the car. Don't talk to them and just say, I don't like your fighting. We're going to wait 5 minutes, and stand outside the car and make them sit there. That was all the questions I had about school. Gee, that went fast. I thought I had a million of them. Yeah, that was it. Oh, there was one more. How do you get kids out the door on a school morning? I have a whole school morning routine, and you can write it up, but it's an incentive-based routine. It's not something that you do on the behavior board. It's follow school morning routine, and you can write it out, and you can say you have to get dressed, brush your teeth, get everything by the front door, get everything by the door where you're going to be leaving, basically. Then the incentive is they can play a video game or something, but that time is limited, because if they think they can get all ready for school and then just play video games, they might get up at 3 a.m. so that they can do that. So say, then you get like 10 minutes or whatever it is. So I use school morning as an incentive one. So you get them to have breakfast, get them to do all that. And then say, as soon as you finish school morning routine, then you can go and watch the screens or whatever for 10 minutes, whatever. So I use that as an incentive-based routine. So I did with my kids. As soon as you're ready, you can turn on the TV, and they would. And I never told them to get ready ever. That's sort of the as soon as method. Can we watch TV in the morning? Sure, as soon as you're ready for school. It's like one of those. And by the way, that's not a bribe. A bribe is getting kids to stop doing something naughty by offering something good. This is you get them to do something good by giving them something good. There's a difference. It's incentive. It's more reward rather than bribe. Okay, how to respond when a newborn when a toddler is rough with a newborn baby sibling. They don't understand soft spots, concussions, death, all that stuff. So just protect the newborn. They don't understand it yet. Don't expect them to, okay? So just completely protect that newborn. I had a friend, she had a very gentle little boy and the same age as mine, and they were both very gentle. That's why we got together a lot, because our boys played really nicely together. She had this darling little baby girl. Much to everyone's shock, he went in the nursery and threw her on the floor. Took her out of the bassinet and threw her on the floor. He was only 2. He didn't understand. He just thought, yeah, I'm sick of this thing. Just cries and takes my mommy and daddy away from me. You don't expect a toddler to be responsible with a newborn, and don't expect that. Your expectations are here. Your expectations are out of whack. There's nothing wrong with the toddler trying to be rough with the newborn. Like, they'll eventually learn, but that's normal that they're going to do that. They don't understand. To them, it just looks like a doll or a teddy bear that they can throw around. Remember, toddlers are brand new, fresh human beings. They don't understand a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. They're in the discovery stage, okay? They're just discovering themselves, you, the world around them, everything. So number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2 is set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3, to connect with a toddler, you do so in their world. You don't go to the nail salon with them. You go to the park and roll down the hill. Number 4 is when you want to discipline a toddler, it's similar. You want to do so in their world. They're not about words, they're about actions. So you use consistent corrective actions. If they're doing something naughty, you remove them from the fun or the fun from them for a few minutes or whatever. They'll eventually get it, but you got to be consistent. They're going to remember the one time you don't do it right. They just do. They don't remember when you do things right, but they sure remember when you do things wrong because it suits them, right? Number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. They're not figure-outable. Toddlers are crazy. They're brand new, fresh human beings. Well, I do call them crazy, but it's just that they haven't developed sanity yet. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years and the first year you were a potato laying on a mattress. Like, they're just forming, okay? So there's nothing wrong with toddlers. Yeah, they might even go like this and smear poop on the wall. They're just forming, okay? My son will tantrum and continue on most times until I hug him and calm him down. I don't know how old he is though. I stand firm on, I don't want to go on because I don't know how old he is. I need an age. Yes, you are feeding the tantrum, by the way. Yeah. He's never going to learn how to do anything on his own if you're always interrupting. Yeah. Definitely more country. Oh, that's upstate New York. Oh, okay. Okay. Albany. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it. Remember years ago, back in the 70s, went to Disneyland and we met people. And when we said we were from Canada, they thought we lived in igloos. I'm sure there's some people in Canada that do, but most of us don't. I remember I was just a teenager at the time and I didn't even know what to say. We were like, so do you live? Oh, what's it like living in an igloo? Okay. My grandson this is school lunches. My grandson takes turkey snack sticks, carrot sticks, raw broccoli, and strawberries almost every day. Wonderful. I would love, well, I'm vegan, but I would love most of that stuff. Yeah, you just got to find what they like, and it's tricky. Had I known my kids were throwing those little mini pizzas away, I would never have made them. I don't know why they didn't tell me that. That's interesting. And they did come home really hungry. But yeah, I don't know why they didn't tell me. I think they thought maybe if they didn't eat those pizzas, I'd send sandwiches. And they would sometimes eat the pizzas, but they really hated sandwiches. So yeah, and I wasn't very inventive with food. That's not my thing. I wasn't very good at it. Thoughts about the book, blah, blah, blah. I've never read a book on parenting or kids. I teach what I know. I've never read what anyone else teaches. Yeah, ever. Kids taught me all this. I think the thing is people think that if we're teaching something, we've read everyone's advice. Kids taught me all this. I would never listen to an adult about kids. I go right to the source. Teenagers, kids, toddlers, they all taught me this stuff. I know one time someone asked me about something, and I just know if I ever picked up a book on toddlers, this would be me. Oh God, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Because I know exactly what I do, and I've been doing it for like 50 plus years. So yeah, and times change, but people don't. This is about connecting and love and making kids feel good about themselves. But yeah, I know. I just roll my eyes the whole time, and they probably would if I wrote a book too. Okay, my newly 6-year-old son, just a sec. Ooh, that's a long one. I won't read the whole thing. My newly 6-year-old son struggles with listening and has a horrible temper for a child. He will mock us and scream. Okay, that's just a tell. It means that you're not a leader. It means he doesn't respect you. Okay, you got to work on your leadership skills. Everyone wants to fix their kids. They're just a product of your parenting. You fix yourself. You work on your own parenting and then they will follow. Okay, between the ages of 3 and 12 years old, all of their behavior is a direct result of your parenting. So work on yourself. That's all this is. I teach parenting. I don't teach teenagering, kidding, toddlering. I teach parenting. You lead, they will follow. So that's just a tell. He's telling you, you're not a leader. Come on, lead me. That's what he's telling you. So yeah, everyone thinks their kids are broken, but you got to look in a mirror. You got to look at yourself. You're the source of all this, which is good news. That's the best news you can hear. That means you can change it. You can only change yourself anyway. You can only really work on yourself. So isn't that good news? You know what strikes me as funny? When people get defensive about that, this is my head always goes here. When people get upset when I say that, I always think, so you're happy to blame your child for that bad behavior, but not yourself. Who do you love more? You or your kid? Do you know what I mean? Like, I would hate to blame my kids for the way they're acting. I'd always rather blame myself because I don't want to belittle them. I'd rather belittle myself and work on myself. And when I was working with kids and they acted out around me, and these are not even my own kids, I would think, what am I missing here? What am I doing wrong? That's what a leader does. That's what an adult should do with kids. You take responsibility for how they're acting. That's the only way you can move forward anyway. Oh, that's Amanda. You've probably left by now anyway. I can deal with it. Okay. What's your take on, this is from YouTube. What's your take on telling your kids we can't afford it when they ask for something random they want at the store? Is there a better way to say, no, I don't want that? Well, why are they asking for stuff at the store? Do they have food, shelter, clothing? I meet their needs and manage their wants. My kids only got stuff when it was Christmas and birthdays. We went out and we did a lot of stuff like experiences, but we didn't buy them stuff when we went out. They never would have asked. I would have said, oh, you'll get something on Christmas and birthday. Yeah, I don't know why they're asking for stuff in the first place. So another question. If your child 3 to 13 are feeling left out with friends, how do you guide them with this? Tell them to find other friends or try. I would do role playing. It's very hard to do. Some people are born with natural confidence and charisma. That's just a matter of fact. It's just the way it is. But other people have to work at it. So you could do role playing with your kids and also get them out and doing different things with different people. It'll make them more well-rounded. So put them in different weird stuff, like maybe in theater, get them to do gymnastics somewhere, swimming lessons. They can do, get them in a whole variety of different things, and they'll have more to talk about. Okay. You said, no, of course not. Oh, you haven't left yet. A lot of people take off when I talk like that. I understand. I says it like it is. And yeah. Okay. Oh, well, good for you for hanging around. Think about it though. I teach leadership. Leaders lead. Leaders take responsibility. Yeah, and that's the best news you can hear, is because you lead, they will follow. Children instinctively want a leader. They look for it. They're screaming out for it. If they're acting out, that's their way of asking for leadership. Every single troubled teen I've ever worked with has said to me, I wish my parents had been tougher on me growing up. They equate discipline with love. They get it. They don't want it now, by the way. But they know their parents didn't love them enough to discipline them. Children want leadership, and discipline's part of it. It's more about connecting the way I teach it. It's more about connecting and bonding with your kids. I've got, there was something on the screen here and it looked just like I had a big red zit right there. I couldn't get rid of it. Oh, I love that you say it like it is. It's not because it's in, you mean rude manner. Yeah, I'm just trying to tell you what I think you need to hear. And I like to hear things straight. I'm a straight shooter. I don't like fluff. Plus, I don't like charming people. You know how they say, oh, he's so charming. I'm like, red flag, red flag, red flag. Charm covers up a whole bunch of crap. What you see is what you get with me. Actually, I get better once you get to know me, evidently. But yeah, I don't like charm. I don't like phony. I can't stand any of that stuff. I just says it like it is. You're here for advice. You're not here. I don't care if you like me or hate me. I don't care. But if you get some advice that helps you, that makes my day. I'm here to help you. Okay, my 3-year-old is hitting, throwing things, and roaring at me. Okay, so he's just getting out of control. 3 is a bit of a fork in the road. At 3, if you're not a leader, they tend to take control. Or if you are a leader, they get easy. So that's the fork in the road. At 3, they stop and think, wait a minute, you don't know what you're doing. I think I'll take over here. That's often what happens. So anyway, work on your leadership skills. You might want to check out my boot camp course for 3 to 12 years old. It's in the link above. I have a toddler boot camp course now too, but if you have kids who are just a month or two under 3, I would recommend the other one. Okay, because that one, all 3-year-olds can do that course, or can be in that course. But yeah, but just a month or 2 under, but no more than that. I look forward to seeing your reels so I can see what I need next to change your work on. I got thousands and thousands of videos out there. Also, check out my free behavior board. That's in the link above. That's completely free. So check that out. Yeah, and I got thousands of videos. Oh, can't even imagine how many. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm just got to be very wary of the time. Okay, your kids are all going back to school. You know what no one asks me about anymore? It's so rare, and I don't know why, is bullying. I rarely get asked about bullying these days. Why is that? I don't know. I have no idea. It used to be a huge topic. I've been doing this for 17 years. It was a huge topic. Why is no one asking me about bullying? I don't know. I can't figure that out. Well, you'll be asking more once school's in. But even like just throughout the year, I don't get asked about it nearly as much as I used to. Is bullying going down? Okay. Okay. I also have a 4-month-old, so it's hard. My least favorite clients to get in coaching by far is a mom who has a newborn and a toddler, because she's restricted physically. Toddlers are all physical actions, consistent corrective actions. What if you're stuck nursing a baby, like breastfeeding a baby? It's like I'm stifled in my advice. I can just sort of talk you off the emotional cliff and say it's all temporary. It'll get easier. It'll get easier. But it's my least favorite client because it's the hardest for me to help you get results with. Anyway, talking about nursing, this is just a funny story. My kids were born and raised in Australia, and this older woman said, I just had a baby, my first child there. And she said, oh, can I nurse your baby? This older woman. And I didn't know what to say to that. I was like, and then my husband, who's Australian, knew what I was like, because in Canada and North America, nursing is breastfeeding, whereas over there it just means to hold. So you can imagine my confusion. Can I nurse your baby? Yeah, just struck me as funny. And I was just like, I didn't know how to answer that. Okay, I'm going to be moving over to Instagram now. I'm on YouTube the whole time. That's where all my lives are saved. If you ever want to look at a live, they're all saved in there. Anyway, then I bounce from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok. Okay, and they get bigger as I go along. The Instagram and the TikTok are my biggest platforms, and they get busy. So yeah, you're best to ask. If you want to get your questions asked, it's best to be on YouTube. Because that's where I get the small. I've only got like 5 people in there. I can get 2,000 or 5,000 people turning up in these ones. So anyway, okay, interesting concept. What was interesting? What did I say that was interesting? I didn't know I had anything interesting. Love your content from Australia. I could tell you story after story after story. I might tell it on Instagram. It's a funny one. Anyway, I got to go over to Instagram now. If you want to join me over there, it's BratBusters Parenting. If not, check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers and one for older kids, or you can look into coaching. Anyway, happy parenting. I'm heading over to Instagram now. Oh, sugar, I did it wrong. Sugar is my swear word. Used to work with kids. Okay. No, I'm not going to read that out because it's too rude. It's on YouTube. I'm not going to say that. Okay. Here from Facebook. Welcome. A lot of people hop over from one to the other. Okay. Welcome, everyone. I'm just going to get right into it. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you can see my school psychologist here, and I can't stop sharing your posts. A huge portion of my clients are teachers, principals, child psychologists. Do you know who I've never had? I've never had a client as a youth worker, ever. I've never been hired by a youth worker. They specialize in troubled teens. I always say, and they're my favorite age, is teenagers. And I always say, if you can get respect with teenagers, the troubled teenagers, you don't need my help. That is like the PhD in this. So yeah, it's interesting. I've never been hired by a youth worker. Not that I know of anyway. Okay, so anyway, check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them, toddlers and older kids. And also you can look into coaching. So, okay. I'm going to tell you a funny story. Now I forgot what it was. Oh, no, I know. Okay. Just a funny story. Just cracked me up. I've told it before, but anyway, years ago, I married an Australian. I'm here in Canada. I married an Australian, moved down under, got pregnant right away, and my son was born 9 months later. Anyway, so I joined a lot of different things just to get out and about. So I joined all these mom groups. And this one mom group, they turned up. It was my turn to host it. I think I'd met them once or twice before. And I was new in Australia. You know, it was all kind of new to me still. And in all the 20 years I was there, I never had one North American friend. Interesting, eh? I was completely Aussieized. Anyway, but not quite yet. I was getting there, but there's still a lot to learn. So anyway, 10 o'clock in the morning, all these moms turn up with their babies. They turned up with silly hats and champagne. And they didn't say anything. They turned up, and I thought, wow, Australian moms sit around getting drunk 10 o'clock in the morning with babies. I was so confused. If you're Australian, you can write down what that was. Do you know what that was? But I had no idea. Why on earth would a bunch of moms and babies turn up with champagne and silly hats? Why would they do that 10 o'clock in the morning? Anyway, I'll see if anyone answers that, but it just struck me as funny. I had no idea. And my husband came home later that night and he laughed. Okay. 2-year-old throwing food and his utensil no matter what we do. Okay, well then don't let him have it. If he keeps throwing it, why has he even got it in his hand? Because he has a tantrum when you don't let him? Okay, then let him have a tantrum. Don't try and avoid the tantrums to teach them a lesson. You've got to teach them a lesson. The fits, tantrums, scenes, and meltdowns are their lessons. Allow that to happen. So the reason why you're letting him do that is because he has a fit if you don't give it to him, right? Just hand feed him. No. He won't let you hand feed him. Clean him up and put him down. Too bad. Meal's over. Okay. And then try it again. Pick him up and then let him try to give him a little bit of food. Let him try and feed himself again. If he throws the stuff again, say no, and then try and hand feed. And then just keep doing this repeatedly. He will eventually learn. He will not starve to death by missing one meal. And you keep introducing this process every half hour or so. He'll eventually catch on. It's going to be, you got to be willing to go through the storms to get to the rainbows. Everyone wants the rainbows, but how do I avoid the scenes? I'm like, those are the lessons. That is the lesson. Okay. No one has guessed why all these moms turned up with champagne for a mom-baby play date. Why did they turn up with champagne at 10 o'clock in the morning in Australia? Because I know I had an Australian in the Facebook one. Any Australian would know exactly what, Melbourne Cup. It was so funny. Melbourne Cup is a very famous horse race in Melbourne, in Australia. And the whole country literally shuts down during the race. Literally. And everyone bets on it. So they were betting on this horse race. And I thought, what a bunch of degenerates. They're turning up with alcohol and betting on horses. Like, I just thought, what the heck? But anyway, so it's Melbourne Cup Day. It's huge, big deal down there. So look it up. You'll see. People dress up for it. Okay, 2-year-olds throwing massive tantrums and hitting during them. Yeah. Check out my tantrum course. It's my tantrum busting mini course. Don't look at the hitting one. That's only if they hit outside of tantrums. You deal with it differently. If they're hitting during a tantrum, check out the tantrum course. It's one of my mini toddler courses. And if you're going to buy 2 or 3 courses, you might want to, the mini ones, you might want to look at the whole toddler boot camp course, which includes those mini courses in it as an added bonus. Okay, can we start solids after 7 months? And first food to start. I'm not a nutritionist or a pediatrician, so I can't talk about that at all. And they change it all the time. I know my granddaughter, she's 7 months, and yeah, they started her on solids, and they had to try different things, and now she's getting good at it. So, but I remember back when my kids were little, and it changes. It's not like this anymore. It was, I think, 3 months. And then we started them on solids. And it was just like, applesauce and stuff like that. And I think it was rice cereal. But yeah, I don't know what they do. They've changed it all now. So yeah. Tired moms. Yeah. What's your comment? What's your question? Parenting is tiring. Because they wanted to, but the alcohol, yeah. Imagine my confusion though. And plus, even when they left, they never thought to really explain the importance of Melbourne Cup. They just said, yeah, it's a horse race. And I'm, oh, okay. Like I thought, well, every week they do this, like it was, I didn't understand Melbourne Cup was an annual one day a year. It was a big deal. There was a few things like that in Australia that it was just so confusing because they were looking at me like I was nuts and I was looking at them like they were nuts. Like, another thing that was funny, betting is really popular in Australia. Yeah, but that's Melbourne Cup's different. It's a national holiday kind of thing. Anyway, this was funny. I forgot what I was going to say now, but just the difference between Australians and Canadians. Just so many things were just different. And they didn't know that neither of us knew that they needed explaining. There's just quite a few things like that. I can't remember now. It was so long ago now. Now I know what it was. We would go shopping. When I first moved there, it was 1989. And we'd go shopping. And I didn't know this, but none of the stores were open past 5 or 6, like supermarkets were open past 5 or 6. And so you could only shop Saturday morning and everything was closed this is in Sydney. So big city, Sydney, 1989. And all the stores were closed on Sundays. Nothing was open on Sunday. So, and I couldn't figure out why everyone went grocery shopping first thing Saturday morning. And I thought, why don't they just do it later on? You know why? All the shelves were empty. No more milk, no more eggs, no more bread. All those shelves were empty by about 10 or 11 in the morning. So you had to get there early to get milk and bread and eggs. Isn't that interesting? And I thought, what am I living in Russia here? Like I was just so confused. And then you kind of fight. So when you're new in a country, you tend to kind of fight it initially. You go like, what? And I remember talking to the manager. I said, well, if you know that you're going to sell all that, why don't you stock out? And Australia, they don't explain themselves really. Like they just look at you like you're nuts. And because they're not, they don't like confrontation. So, and I was just said, well, if you know you're going to sell all that, why don't you just do it? So I was being, this entitled little pain in the butt, right? Anyway, years and years later, and this is years later up in Brisbane, and all the stores were open Sundays. So but they still ran out of stuff on Saturday morning. They still ran out of milk Saturday morning. Anyway, and my family, my brother and his family were visiting. And my sister-in-law and I went grocery shopping, and it was like noon on a Saturday, and I knew they were going to be out of milk. I just knew it. So anyway, so she saw this. Well, you should have seen her reaction. I want to talk to the manager about this. She did exactly what I had done, and I was so humiliated because I was all Aussieized by this time. I understood the system, but it just struck me as so funny. Like we think that our way is the only way. We just don't adjust right away. There was a few things like that. I look back and I think, what an entitled little pain in the butt I was. It's funny. I'm going to read this, but I don't even have an answer for you. Can you give me an example of how you hold a verbal boundary without yelling, raising voice? What do you mean by verbal boundary? I don't know what you mean by that. That's too fancy for me. I don't know what you mean by that. What age does this discipline start? About 10 months old. And it's like this. Let's say they go to bite you or something and you go, no, but you say no with a frown, but you never want to say no enough that it makes them cry. You want them to go like this and look at you. They'll probably laugh and try to do it again because they're like, what are you doing? So it's just, you're just starting. Okay. It's not really discipline. It's more letting them know right from wrong. But yeah. How do you know if you're helicopter parenting? Now, that's an old phrase I haven't heard in a very long time, and I don't really know what you mean by that. There's no, everyone has a different definition of what that means. I was a helicopter parent for sure with safety. I was a safety nut, but not with other stuff. Like I never tried to protect my kids from bullies or anything. I said, you go figure it out. I'll teach you how to deal with them, and then you go do it on your own. So, but I was with safety because I've worked with so many kids who've been abused. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I was very fussy about stuff like that. But yeah. But I do like my kids to learn how to handle things themselves. Like I like my kids to be problem solvers. I didn't solve their problems for them. I wanted them to learn. I would help them. I'd say, here's what I would do, or here's what you might want to try this, see how it goes. So I was more inclined to educate them on how to solve their own problems. I didn't go in to save the day. I wasn't that type. Yeah, I wanted them to learn how to stand on their own 2 feet. And I didn't expect everything to be easy. I didn't try and make everything easy for them. If they got a bad teacher who was being unfair, I'd say, well, that's good practice for when you get a bad boss one day, because it's going to happen. So yeah, I wanted them to learn how to deal with adversity. And if you try and make everything easy for your kids, you're going to raise self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. Don't do that. You're not doing them any favors. Yeah. 2.5-year-old lately has been saying, I'm sad or I'm angry after a tantrum. Oh, they're just trying to get sympathy. Yeah. I'm sad, I'm angry. It's like they want you to go, oh, that's okay. Good tantrum. That was good. That was good. They're looking for sympathy and all that stuff. Yeah. That's not the time to love them up. That's not love. That's validation they're looking for. So if it's right after a tantrum and they're just coming down after, I need a hug. You're all right. You want to go play a game, or do you want to go read a book? Yeah, I don't coddle them after that, because what you're saying is good tantrum, good tantrum. Yeah, you're condoning the whole thing. Don't do that. What about tantrums at 5 years old? They usually grow out of tantrums by 3.5 to 4. If they're still having them at 5, you got some work to do, and that's work on yourself as a leader, okay? They're only having tantrums because they work. Children past the age of, it's actually 3 years and 9 months, but I always say 4. Children past the age of 4 only do what works. So that says to me, tantrums must work. They must either annoy you, or they get their own way, you give in, or they get a reaction of some sort. So anyway, check out my boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds. Might be good for you. It's all about you and your leadership. My 3-year-old is fighting me on everything. She talks back. Okay, again, check out the boot camp course, because that's on you. Their behavior between the ages of 3 and 12 years old is 100% a direct result of your parenting. You lead, they will follow. You don't lead, they will lead. Okay, they'll take over, which is what's happening there. Okay, children, if you send your kids out in the world without a leader at home, you want to be a leader, right? You want them to come to you with things and everything right through the teen years. You want them to talk to you and tell you stuff. So anyway, if you send your kids out in the world without leadership at home, if you're not a leader, they're going to be very vulnerable, very susceptible to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. You get the idea. They're going to look for a leader elsewhere. It's a natural instinct for a child to want and need and crave a leader. You want that to be you. Oops. You got to put an age. I don't know how old you have to put an age. Do 2-year-olds understand timeout in daycare? Well, I hate timeout, so I don't talk about it. I can't stand it. I think it's mean. But if that's what schools do, I teach parenting. Schools, teachers, daycare, they do they're different. That's a business. I teach parenting, which is personal, completely different roles. So if daycare or schools have to do timeout, it works there. That's great. But I'm talking parenting. I hate timeout. I can't stand it. I think it's mean. Doesn't teach them anything. They just sit in a corner and feel bad about themselves. You already asked me about that verbal firm boundary. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. You must be new here, because I don't talk like that, and I don't hold firm boundaries. I don't know what you mean by that. That sounds very authoritative, dictator. I don't talk like that. So yeah, keep watching if you're interested. If not, if you're looking for someone with firm boundaries, I don't talk like that. Yeah. Are you still doing one-on-one coaching? I am for now. Yes. I don't know how much longer I'll do it, to be honest. It's not really where the business is headed. The only reason that I do it is because I love it. It's my favorite thing in my business. I just love, because I'm mother. I see my kids are grown and I love mothering. That's my best thing I've ever done. And I get to mother all these clients. So I feel very, because I'm 63 now, they're all like my kids' age. So yeah, I still do it. I always say I don't know how much longer I'm going to do it, but I kind of thought I might quit by now, but I can't seem to do it. I really love coaching. And it's funny because I always dread every time an appointment's coming up, I would like more freedom to do what I want when I want in my business. And with coaching, I can't do that. I've got all these appointments set up and I just dread going into an appointment. You should see me. I'm like, oh God, another appointment. As soon as I see the parents, I'm like, hi, I'm all excited. Like I love coaching. I don't like being held down to appointments, but once I see the parents, it's my favorite thing. I love it. So yeah, I probably will keep doing it. At least in part, I'll do it. Maybe not as much one day. Yeah, but I dread going into it. You should see me. Oh my God, I got all these appointments and all I want to do is just work on something else. And I just dread it every single time the parent's sitting right in front of, like in the Zoom call or whatever. I get excited. What happens when child screams your name during the tantrum? What does that have to do with you? Yeah. They're going to do anything to get your attention. Just ignore it. I love it when they go, you don't love me. I hate you. You hate me. And you're just filing your nails. They'll do anything to pull you in. They're just going like this. They're fishing, trying to pull you in. Don't let them do it. By the way, when they're talking like that during a tantrum or during anger, that has nothing to do with how they really feel. That's just pure manipulation. If they talk like that when they're angry or having a tantrum or not getting their own way, it's pure manipulation. Sorry, I got to scroll ahead because there's so many questions here and I want to make sure you're still here when I answer your questions. How to handle 2-year-old hitting mom and dad, can't really remove her from us. Yeah, I don't do that. Check out my Toddlers Who Hit course. It's one of my little mini courses up above. It just goes into how you do that. Any tips for a first-time mom? Okay, if you're a brand new mom and you got a newborn, mom and baby happy and healthy for the first 3 months. That's your only focus. But otherwise, just keep educating yourself on the toddler years, what's coming up. And my best advice for you is toddlers are crazy. Don't try and figure them out. Don't have any expectations. You might get an easy one. You might get a difficult one. They're all different and it's all temporary. They're cute as a button, but they're all feet, no brains. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3, when you want to connect with a toddler, you do so in their world. You don't go to the nail salon with them. You go to the park and roll down the hill. Number 4, when you want to discipline a toddler, you do so in their world. They're not about words. They're about actions. You use consistent corrective actions. You don't use all these mini therapy sessions discussing all their big feelings and big emotions. It's just garbage. That was invented to make the mom feel and look good about it. It's not, it has nothing to do with the toddler. They're not listening. They're yes, mommy, yes. And then they go and do it again. You're like, what? I just explained all the feelings and emotions and they're not listening. Okay, number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're just forming, okay? They haven't developed sanity yet. That's why they're so crazy. They might even go like this and smear poop on the wall. Try and make sense out of that. How to pick between your 2 courses. My son is 30 months. I would get the toddler. You either wait for the other one or get the toddler course. There's still a lot of, I mean, it is a toddler course, but there's still a lot of common sense in there. The toddler course is very different in that it's more of a reference guide. So you just pick and choose what you want to look at, but I do suggest you look through the whole thing. But it's just little mini niches on little mini sort of blurbs on all these different things that are going to come up. And it's all based on I asked you guys on Instagram what you wanted me to put in the course. So it's all what you wanted. But anyway, the other one is very different. 3 to 12 years old, that's when it's 5 weeks and how to get respect. It's all laid out. It's a whole procedure. It's a whole method. It's a whole program. So it's very different. Toddlers aren't like that. Toddlers live in the moment. They don't think ahead. They don't think behind either. They live right in the moment. So it's just different. But yeah, I would suggest the toddler one for now. If you want to get something now, get the toddler one. Did I ruin my 5-year-old? Well, I specialize in troubled teenagers, like teen crisis work. So, and that's still fixable. So yeah, 5 years old is still really tiny. You're just starting out. So yeah, no, just keep watching. You're not alone. I get that all the time. Have I ruined my kids? I'm such an awful mother. I'm doing, yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's get to work. I don't. No, you didn't ruin your kids. You're just learning, right? Just learning. You got to put the ages down. I can't answer. Some questions I can answer anyway, because I can tell by the question that it's maybe a 2-year-old or something, but some of them I wouldn't have a clue. Are they 16, 6, or 16 months? Something that comes up a lot is when I'm coaching is different parenting styles. The thing is that let's say nothing's working. So of course you're going to argue, because if nothing's working, you're going to argue over it because you think maybe this will work, that'll work, but nothing's working. But when one parent finds something that works, leech onto that. You know what I mean? Like go with the strength and don't gloat with each other either. A lot of parents, I get this in coaching. Actually, I had this the other day. It was so cute. Really darling young couple. But they asked me something. They said, oh, we were discussing this. And I knew exactly who I'd agreed with. You should have seen the face on the one who was the right one. Ha ha. So, they were laughing. They had a cute sense of humor. But yeah, the only reason that you don't agree is because nothing's working. So, and I teach leadership parenting. If this resonates with you at all, then just follow through with what I'm saying, and it should eventually work. So yeah. And then once things start to work, you get on the same page pretty quickly. When things start to go well, that's how you get on the same page. Okay. Is there a way to become a leader if you've never been one all your life? Here's the thing. And this comes up sometimes too, is parents will say, yeah, but that's your personality. It's easy. I'm not a leader in my personal life at all. I have no interest in it. I don't want any control. I want someone else to tell, and this is people I like, obviously, that, I trust and all that. But I want them to say where we're going, when we're going, what I'm going to have for dinner. I don't want any decision making. I'm very much a follower in my personal life. But with parenting, I love kids and I love to do what's best for them. So I lead them because I know how much fun you can have with them once you're a leader. That is the prized role, is the leader. Most parents fight over who wants to be the leader once they realize that. The leader is the fun one. The leader is the one they tell everything to right through the teen years. The leader is the friend, because you're really good at connecting with your kids. So yeah, but I'm not a leader in my personal life at all. I hate it. I just have no energy for it. I don't want to plan anything. I have no interest in it. None. So yeah, it's not a personality trait that I have. It's just it's a maternal trait that I have, because I'm very maternal with kids. So yeah, there's a big difference between the two. If I have a friend who also doesn't like making decisions and planning stuff, well, basically this is what you'll see. We'll be walking around in circles, can't decide where to go. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? We can't make a decision because I have no interest in any of that. And that's why my daughter's my business partner. Thank God. She loves all that stuff. She loves planning everything out. You should see the stuff she's got me doing here. So she loves all that, being in control, planning it all out. That's her role in this business. She plans everything out. I have zero interest in that. So yeah, don't worry about it. If you're not a leader, I've got some really passive, sweet, meek and mild people who are wonderful leaders for their children. So. Okay, such a good question. How do you not get tired of saying the same dang thing when people ask the same dang questions? Love your work. Because I'm helping people. You know how good it feels? The emails I get and everything that I'm helping people, that's why, because it feels good. Because I'm helping people. I love serving and helping people. I'm in the caring field. I'm maternal. I'm helping people, right? This is part of my maternal stuff. So that's why. I get it though. I get it. Actually, that's a good question. I don't know. You'd think I would get tired of it, wouldn't you? Certain things I know what I don't like doing. I don't like telling the pool story, the swing story, I don't like telling my same stories over and over again. I get really bored with that. I can't even hear them after a while. So yeah, that's what I don't like. But I like responding to your stuff. Okay, sorry, I'm scrolling ahead just to make sure you're here. Because, of course, I miss a lot of questions because I have to scroll all the time. Okay, this is from Ashley on YouTube. Good question, comes up a lot. How do you handle family members that get involved? So in other words, they undermine your parenting and they try and, take over sort of thing and tell you what to do. Here's what you say. And it's a very simple thing. It doesn't usually work, but it's all you can do. I would just say, when you criticize, undermine, correct my parenting, whatever word you want to use, say, it hurts my feelings. What can they say to that? If they keep doing it, they're admitting they're hurting your feelings and they have no problem with it. Right? It's not passive aggressive, it's true. So yeah, if they don't respect that, I can't help you. I can't change them. You can't change other people. You can only change yourself. There's this old saying out there that is the most ignorant saying I think I've ever heard. It's teach people how to treat you. Are you freaking kidding me? Teach other people how to treat me? Is that the stupidest thing? I've never heard anything so stupid said by so many professionals in my life. You've got to teach people how to treat you. If you don't come into my life already being a nice person, knowing how to treat people well, good riddance. You're out of here. It's not my job to fix you. Wow, is that dumb? Am I alone in that? Is that just the dumbest statement? You got to teach people how to treat you. In other words, it's your responsibility if they treat you poorly, is what that's saying. Stupid. Boy, people say dumb things. Okay, so you agree. It makes sense, right? It's not my job to fix you. You're an adult. You come into my life. If you want to come into my life, you better be nice. Because I'm nice. So if you're not nice, good riddance. You're gone in a shot. Wouldn't even look back. Depends whether that person is a narcissist. That word narcissist is thrown around a lot. A lot of people have narcissistic tendencies, but I'm 63 and I've only ever met one narcissist, like a true narcissist. And no, it was not my ex-husband. He's not a narcissist. It was someone they were married to someone I knew. And it is something else. They're very charming. Narcissist, and I hate charm. Charm is just a cover for a whole bunch of ugly going on underneath the surface. I never trust a charming person. Like, hi, you look lovely. Aren't you lovely today? Oh God, stay away. Yeah, those people give me the creeps. So yeah, I've only ever met one narcissist. Anyway, yes, I'd like to know answer to the, no, wait a minute. You don't believe in timeout, so not sure how to do it. You don't believe in timeout, so not sure how to do it. Well, I don't do timeout, so I don't teach how to do it. I don't know what you mean by that. Charm is scary. Yeah, charm is, oh, he's so charming. Oh, okay. I don't want to meet him. No, thanks. Yeah, I don't like charm. Anyway, What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I got to move over to TikTok now. If you want to join me over there, it's BratBusters Parenting. And check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them, toddlers and older kids. Or you can look into coaching. Anyway, I'm going over to TikTok now, and I'm on YouTube the whole time, which is where all my lives are saved. Thanks for joining me. Happy parenting. So many buttons to push these days. They've added extra little steps that you have to do. And they've all done it. All the platforms have added extra steps. Well, just one extra step, but my thumbs are literally sore because I do so much. I'm on my phone so often. Okay. This is from Mystic at the Crossroads. Hello, I just found your channel yesterday. I'm expecting my first child and soaking up all the help I get here. Thank you in advance. You know what I think the most valuable thing that you can get on here is to see what other parents are going through, and that you're not alone. Everyone struggles with parenting. You know, it's your first time going through stuff, especially. It's only natural. So I hope that you can look at other people. Most of my clients are highly educated, successful people who they get these little human beings in their life that drive them insane. So yeah. Parenting's messy. Life's messy. So I just help you clean up the mess and get it all sorted out. But yeah, you know, parenting's kind of messy, especially when they're little. It's very messy. Came from Instagram. Welcome. A lot of people hop from Facebook, Instagram to TikTok. It goes, Facebook's my smallest channel. I don't know how many people, maybe 250 on there, 250,000. And then Instagram, and then I've got almost, I think, 700,000 here now on TikTok. So this is my biggest platform here. And I started on TikTok 2.5 years ago. And I love it. I didn't used to watch it much. I just went on here and started filming. And I was filming. I grew my channel just standing in my bathroom, holding my phone like this and talking about parenting. And it blew up. Like within 6 months, I got 500,000 followers just standing in my bathroom. People have asked me, how'd you grow your channel? I was in my bathroom holding my camera. It's funny. Because people are here for my information, not the way I look or anything, obviously. It's for the information. So, yeah. So I'm very fond of TikTok because that's what sort of got me on this real social media bender. It was TikTok. Okay, so thanks for joining me. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them now, toddlers and older kids, or you can look into coaching. The toddler one's brand new. It just came out last Friday, I think it was. I can't remember. Last Thursday, I think it was. Oh, a week today, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, came out last week and getting good feedback on it. So I appreciate your feedback, your support. Okay. What to do if my 7-year-old is banging on the door, screaming when excused from the room for a tantrum? Oh, you don't do that. That's timeout. Go in there and have a tantrum. You don't do that. He's banging on the door because you put him in timeout. Yeah, don't do that. And besides, he's 7. Tantrums usually stop by 3.5, around there. If they keep going, it means you're feeding it somehow. Something's going on. Check out my boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds, and it's all about you and your leadership. Remember, we don't fix kids here. We fix parents. Parents, you learn to lead, and kids don't act like that. They just don't. When you're a leader, they don't tantrum or anything. Yeah. So, and leadership is all about connecting with your kids, and you're meeting their needs and managing their wants. The problem is a lot of parents can't decipher between the two sometimes. They tend to put too many things in the needs. Well, he needs to play PlayStation for 2 hours a day. No, that's in the wants department. So you meet their needs and manage their wants. You deal with discipline very quickly. You get it done, but then you focus on the good kid. So you do discipline kids, but my focus is all about connecting and bonding with kids. That's leadership. If kids have trauma from a divorce, how do you deal with that? Well, that would be coaching. And my kids have been through divorce. They were 9 and 14 when we split up, but we never fought. So they don't care if you're together or not. They just care that you get along. That's it. Always put your kids first, but you're past all that because obviously there's been some trauma, and it might not necessarily have been you that caused that. But yeah, that would be coaching. We'd have to figure stuff out. I'd have to look into it. Now, what about night terrors in a 2-year-old? Night terrors are a thing. Night terrors are different from nightmares in that this is what doctors have told me, because I actually looked into it, and evidently a night terror is they are having a nightmare and they wake up and they're still living it. So they don't, when they wake up, the nightmare doesn't stop. So that's what I've been told is what night terrors are. And it's mostly kids who get it, but some adults get it too, evidently. They just don't wake up from the nightmare. They're still living it. So yeah, that's a bit tricky. So I don't have a set answer because I don't know how long it's been going on, what happens when you do, all that sort of stuff. But generally, I would give a kid something like a torch or something that like they could squeeze one of those bears that lights up or something that say, when you wake up like that, squeeze the bear and it'll all stop. So it's something they can do to get out of it, because then they might be able to do that on their own in bed. But yeah, they have to be a little bit older to do that. Okay, tips for taking a 2-year-old on a 10-hour flight. Oh God, I did that. Well, we went from Canada to Australia back and forth because I'm Canadian originally, but then I was in Australia for 20 years raising kids. So we did 24-hour trips. And yeah, I have no advice. Give them everything they want constantly when you're on that plane. There is no way I would put a plane full of people through a tantrum. The only time I would ever give into a tantrum is on a plane or on a confined, like if it was a train or anything like that. And kids know the difference. As soon as we got off that plane, they didn't get everything they wanted. Do you know what I mean? Like they learn pretty quick. But yeah, that's what I would do. Give them whatever they want. Buy them tons of new stuff and give in to every demand. Because there's no way I would put a plane full of people through that. I think that's selfish and mean and it'd be awful. Awful. Potty training tips, please. Check out my potty training course. It's a potty party. And because it's a whole procedure. I can't give you a tip. It's a whole method. Yeah, it's a party. It's messy. It's just you and your kid, but it's a party. So you might want to check that out. It's up in the link above. My 3-year-old's emotional since me and her dad split up. Is this normal? Well, yeah, she probably doesn't see you both all the time like she did before. That's the emotional part. The thing that upsets kids most when you split up, though, is when you fight. Yeah. And also you should never fight ever, like not in front of them, certainly. And remember, you chose to have kids with that person. So you're stuck with them for the rest of your life. And for your kids' sake, get along. And also give access to that other person as much as possible. Like when we split up, we had no agreement or anything. We didn't do any of that. We just sort of settled things and decided, okay, you take them Friday night or whatever. And, but yeah, if the kids had said, I want to do this or that, I don't know. We just sort of tried to make it work between us. But yeah, it's a transition time. You can't always save your kids from things. How do we make grief easier? You don't. Grief is hell. When someone dies, it's hell. Don't try and make it easy on your kids. It's not supposed to be. It's good for them to learn that sometimes life is tough. And divorce, just don't fight. That's the one thing. Yeah, that they don't care if you're together. They just care that you fight. They don't like it. It scares the bejeebies out of them. They hate it. So yeah, we still, I mean, that was 20 years ago. We still like see each other on Christmas and all that, like, because you're stuck with that person. We're not friends, but we're not enemies. It's just we have kids together. So, I respect the fact that he's the father of my kids, but I don't see him as my ex. I see him as the father of my kids. And I respect that. Okay, your grandma asking about complex things. That would be coaching. Yeah, there's too much going on there. I'd have to assess the whole situation before I could give you any advice. So you can look into that if you're interested, up in the link above. Oh, you ask about, you have an extremely difficult ex, and I never really get into all that stuff. Like what I mean is, I'm not a mediator or anything. Like I'm not solving your ex and yours problems. But what I do is I focus on your relationship with your child. If I can't get access to that ex to talk to him also and help him with parenting, then I just focus on you. I can't help you with your ex. Like, I don't do that. I'm not a marriage counselor or anything. You know what I mean? That's therapy. That's different. But I can help you get a better relationship with your child. I teach parent-child relationships. That's it. A lot of I know some of my clients say I am a marriage counselor, but they have to be together in the coaching session. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not a marriage counselor at all. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a parenting coach. I teach parent-child relationships. But a lot of times I do have to deal with, how to help parents get on the same page. And sometimes I do work with exes. They'll agree to relinquish one of their sessions to the ex, and then we'll try and get them on the same page with some stuff. But it's not necessary. Okay, this is good. It's from Ashley Davis. You said, I always follow you on Facebook to Instagram to TikTok during these lives, but it's so much easier on YouTube than switching around. That's true. If you're going to follow me on a live, it's probably best to go to YouTube because I'm more likely to see your questions there because I've only got like 10 people on there and I can get like a couple thousand that turn up on these ones. They come and go, right? So, and I don't get to nearly anywhere near all the questions on these. So, and I won't get to all the questions on YouTube either, but I'm more likely to see your question on there. So yeah, good point, Ashley. I'm new here. Do you do online info? If info, so please. Okay. I do coaching. This is the only place I answer parenting questions is during these lives. If you want to hire me one-on-one coaching, you can look above. That's all done on I was going to say Zoom, but I've just transferred over to Meet, Google Meet. We've just changed everything. My daughter's changed it all. You should see me, my old brain trying to, what? That's all different, but it's different. Yes, Mom, it's different. But yeah, we're doing meets now. So it's all done, on video calls. There you go. I started out doing Skype and it was really frustrating. Beep, beep, beep. You're always waiting. And then no one knew how to do it. So it was like, I had to send them all this information on how to do Skype. And then the pandemic hit and everyone knew how to do Zoom. So it made my coaching so much easier. Everyone's a professional on video calls now because not everyone has FaceTime and I don't do FaceTime. So, I mean, I do, but not in coaching. God, that was a lot of talk about nothing. I felt like I was going on about nothing there. Okay, I'm going to look at some of my notes to see if I can just throw in some, because, I'm always reacting to your questions, which is mostly about discipline, but that's not what I'm all about at all. I'm about connecting with kids, bonding with them, making them like themselves. You deal with bad behavior, but then you focus on the good kid. You put all your energy and focus into the good kid. Sometimes you need a magnifying glass to find it, but you got to find the good in your kid and bring it out in them. Because when they like themselves, when they're with you, they want to please you. It's a natural reaction. So let's say you meet someone who makes you feel great about yourself and they say, oh gosh, you're so funny. If anyone laughs at what I say, I'm all over them. I love that. I just think I'm so funny. And if everyone thinks I'm funny, then I'm just all over them. And then I want to please that person. I want to make them laugh some more. It's only natural. When someone makes you feel good about yourself, you want to please them, right? So it's like that with kids too. So it's not a matter of discipline. That will just get you more bad behavior. If that's all you're focused on is their bad behavior, that's all you're going to get. Where you put your energy, where you put your focus is what grows. So you put your energy and your focus into the good kid. That's my pool story. That's the first video that I've pinned here, and it's called Example of Leadership Parenting. It's the very first video on my channel here on TikTok and Instagram. I don't know where it is on Facebook, but anyway, it's the pool story. You deal with bad behavior, then all your focus goes into the good kid. And look at the difference in what you get. Huge difference. How do I help my 6-year-old who often says he hates me? You'd have to figure out what you're doing. Check out, are you a leader? He would not say that if you were a leader. So check out your leadership skills. You might want to look into the boot camp course, 3 to 12-year-old one. I have 2 of them. I have a toddler one and an older kid one. Check that out. Because once you're a leader, they just don't talk like that. Whenever they talk like that, it's sort of a sign like, come on, lead me, lead me. They just feel lost. They're lost. That's what that says to me. Sorry, I'm just looking into this. Something that came up just recently, and it was such a good point, is parents say to me, what do I do if I've got an older kid and like 4 or 5-year-old, and then they have a new baby? How do we get that relationship going? And I say, well, that's a big split in age. My kids are 5 years apart. My son didn't have much to do with his little sister till she was up and walking around. Then he would just order her around, and he loved it. So, but yeah, you make the older one the hero, not the leader, but the hero. Like set them up. Oh, she looks up to you so much. You're the hero in her life. Make them the hero. Okay, that's the role that you want to set them up in. So they won't resent the little one if they think that little one idolizes them. Okay. So make them the heroes. Someone said to me, how do I make my 8-year-old the leader with his brand new little sister? You don't make them a leader. That's your job. That's parenting. Don't make your 8-year-old parent his little sister. Make him a leader. Not a leader. Make him a hero, right? This was really cute too. This came up in a live. Someone said, my 8-year-old daughter is a real bully. She's pushing kids around, hitting them, and then she comes home crying because no one likes her. What should I say to her without hurting her feelings? And I thought, well, you're going to have to hurt her feelings here. I said, I would say to her, no one's going to like you unless you're likable. So here's how you get likable. So that's what I just say it like it is. Why on earth should she expect anyone to like her? She's 8 years old. You've been so busy trying to please her and not face facts with her. That's why it's gone on for so long, for 8 years. So yeah, I would have got that really young and said, no one likes you because you're not likable. And you know what I mean? Like, just say it like it is. And here's how you be likable. Don't just tell them what they're doing wrong. Show them how to be right. Show them how to be nice. I'm a grad student for trauma and resilience, and your advice are pure gold. I started my business doing crisis work with teenagers, and I won't go into it, but you can imagine it's life and death stuff a lot of the time. And I loved it. But it is about resilience and trauma. And sometimes you just got to put on your big girl pants, your big boy pants, and get over stuff. You got to work it through and you got to move forward. I find that like a lot of therapy is about delving into the past, which is really necessary in a lot of trauma and that, obviously. But also I think it's important to learn how to move forward. And that's where I put all my energy into moving forward, because I'm not a therapist. I'm a coach. Coaches focus on the future. Therapists focus on the past. So yeah, I'm more into the future. But trauma is really difficult. I've dealt with a lot of that. And when I'm dealing with crisis and trauma, I need to know a lot about the past. And I can't say what I do, but I mean, I need to know a lot about the past, unfortunately. And then I need to know how to move forward through it. But sometimes you just got to toughen up. It's hard to do. Fake it till you make it. Go through the motions. And then eventually it starts to become you. It starts to become more normal. But yeah, trauma's hell. It just is. Okay. Okay, this is a good one. This is from Accent Fleet. I'm slightly behind on the live. My question, have you ever lost your temper with your kids? Oh, yes. My son, he had tantrums when he was little, and I was a new mom with him, and I had tons of experience with kids. But I remember twice, I remember losing my temper. I remember once I saw red, and it scared me. I was that angry. He was just being a little jerk. He was like 2, and he was just being a little jerk. And who knows? I probably had PMS or something too. Who knows? But yeah, I lost it. I didn't do much about it. But I remember thinking, wow, this is what real anger is. And I don't really have much of a temper either. And I'll tell you a funny story when my temper did come out, almost. I've told this story before, but anyway. And it was my son, because he had tantrums. They're either born to have them or they're not. Anyway, he was 2, and he was out in the sandbox, and I was inside cooking or whatever, but I could see him. It was sunny out. He couldn't see me because it was, sunny outside and they can't see inside the house. He's out in the sandbox having a great time. So I'm looking at him. It's all enclosed, safe yard. So I'm watching him, and then I'm looking down. Then all of a sudden I hear click, click, and I look up. He's throwing rocks over the fence into the neighbor's yard. And the neighbors were out in their patio, and it was like a retaining wall. So we were up high and they were down lower. So these rocks could have been hitting them. Anyway, so I was horrified. I go out there, and he's only 2. I go out there and I said, you don't do that. I said, we're going to go down, pick up the rocks. So I took him down there, and I had him help me. We picked up. I wasn't mad at this point. I just thought he doesn't know, right? So I took him down there, and I said to the neighbors, and I was showing off. I thought I was such a great mom, such an idiot. How embarrassing. You'll understand why in a minute. Anyway, so I said, okay, I'm so sorry. He's throwing rocks. He's going to pick them all up, and I promise it won't happen again. They've got older kids. They were really nice people. Their names were Lynn and Graham. They had 3 lovely kids. Anyway, I think that was their names. Anyway, so they're kind of laughing at me like this stupid new mom. She thinks she's got that figured out. Anyway, So then I took him down and I said, say you're sorry, all that stupid stuff that 2-year-olds they don't care. So anyway, I had him pick up all the rocks. We went back up and I said, now you don't do that again. And I was doing the mini therapy session. All that stuff I say is so stupid that here I was doing it. But I was a new mom. I had lots of experience with kids, but I slipped up and I can see how it just came out. I was trying to reason with a 2-year-old. Anyway, so then I said, and he's like this, no, mommy, I won't do it. And I'm thinking, oh, my precious little angel, he's learned his lessons. Stupid me. So I go back in the house and I'm la, 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 thinking I'm so wonderful. And he starts doing it again. That's when I got angry. I go storming out there, angry. I'm like, what, this stupid little kid. I just, I'm so embarrassed because the neighbors, So anyway, I go storming out. I'm almost at the sandbox where he is. And then I stop and I go, wait a minute. I remembered, I thought, he's 2. All he's thinking is throwing rocks over the fence is fun. And I can't see mom, so she can't see me. That's it. He's not thinking about hurting other people or anything, nothing. He's 2. Anyway, so then I took him back down to the neighbors again, and I've heard them laughing, right? So I go down and I'm carrying him and I said, sorry about that. And I'm all embarrassed. I didn't say anything this time. And they're trying not to laugh at me. So we picked up the rocks and okay, so see you later. I was all embarrassed. And I took him up to the sandbox. And what I did was I moved into a different spot in the sandbox away from the rocks. And then I played with him for a little while. So I didn't just tell him what not to do, which is what I'd done in the past. The previous time. Now I'm showing him what to do. So we got the digger out and we're playing in the sandbox. And then I said, okay, now mommy's going to go inside and mommy can see you. So what I did was when I went inside, then I kept calling out to him. Every time I'd see him look over at the rocks, I'd call, mommy's watching. Are you having fun, sweetie? And he'd go, oh, okay. You see? So I figured it out. But that was, I really was angry when I went storming out there. Thank God I figured it out on my walk. But I had tons of experience with kids. There was no excuse for me to do that. But I did. I'm human. I make mistakes like everybody else. Yep. As human, we all are. We all make mistakes. Life's messy. We're all going to make mistakes. Okay. Would you be able to help with a defiant 15-year-old? I specialize in teenagers. So yeah, that's coaching. You'd have to look into coaching. The most common age I'm hired to work with parents of teenage boys is just turned 15. It's unbelievable how common that is, that age. Just turned 15. So yeah, really common age. Hormones. Hormones are flying. I think they mess with their brain. Well, I think all their brain cells go flying downstairs, I think is what happens. All their ability to reason. But we don't tell them that. It's not how we operate. I teach you how to connect with them, what to do. I'll tell you a cute story. My son was 14. We were best buddies. We always had been super close, laughed every day, just had a great time. And so every single morning I'd come downstairs, morning, sweetie. And he'd be down the kitchen and he'd go, morning, mom, with a crackly voice. And I'd say, oh, love you too, mom. It was just this wonderful, warm relationship. And he was starting to change a bit. He's almost 15. And then he turned 15. And I remember this day. I don't remember exactly if he just turned 15, but it was right around 15. And I went downstairs, morning, sweetie. And he turned around and I swear his expression, it was like I didn't even know who I was looking at. He just looked different. And he turned around and he went, morning, mom. He basically turned into a man overnight and it freaked me out. Anyway, so I said, oh, okay. But then he started pulling away from me. Mom he wasn't my girlfriend anymore, basically. And he even said that once. I said, what's happening? We're not as close. He goes, Mom, I'm not your girlfriend anymore. Like, boo-hoo-hoo. Anyway, so then I thought, how am I going to connect with this guy? Because we were still friends, but not like super close like we were. And so I thought, how am I going to connect with this guy? He likes heavy metal music, video games, PlayStation games. I don't like any of that. So you know what I did? I got a plan going. And what I did was I got a magazine and he was down the rec room playing on the PlayStation game. And I sat down beside him with a magazine and I was just leafing through it and looking up at the game. I didn't say anything. And I'm looking, next thing you know, he's talking to me about the game. Next thing you know, as time's passing, he hands me a controller and we're playing. And then as time went on, we ended up, that's how we bonded again, was through, you always bond in their world, not in yours. I wasn't expecting him to go and do like a hike with me or anything. That wasn't his world, right? He didn't like doing that. So I bonded in his world. You always enter their world, but with teenagers, you wait till you're invited, but you make it obvious that you're available. You're like that loser hanging around hoping they're going to play with you like that. That's what it is. You're just sitting there waiting. Anyway, what was funny was then he ended up making me playlists of some of his heavy metal music. I ended up really liking some of it. And I'm very honest. I don't pretend, right? You know, if I don't like the game we're playing, I say, I hate that game. Can we find another one? And he would. He'd find something that we could both play. I love Crash Bandicoot and Guitar Hero were two things. He got bored with Crash Bandicoot, but we could do Guitar Hero together. And then anyway, and he made me, ended up, my favorite album for quite some time was NWA's Greatest Hits. I won't say it again if anyone knows what that is. It's vile, but I just got into it because of him. I opened my mind to his world, right? And he was very appreciative of that. Anyway, he went to the bathroom when we were playing this racing game, and I was horrible at this. And I was falling off cliffs. I was running over moms with pushing strollers, you know, on this game, right? This racing game. I was horrible at it. I could not keep my car on the track for the life of me. Anyway, he goes to the bathroom. While he's in the bathroom, I did the most phenomenal lap. I went around at curves, everything. I didn't hit anything. I couldn't believe it. He missed it. He comes back from the bathroom, and I said, sweetie, you wouldn't believe it. I said, you should have seen the lap I just did. I just aced it. I got like, I don't know what the score, how that works. And he's looking at me like I'm insane. And he said, Mom, that was my replay. Anyway, we laughed and laughed. So you see, I didn't have to be good at it. It was fun. So that's how we bonded. We bonded in his world, but I didn't overstep. I didn't try and push myself on him. Probably sometimes I would have, but I tried to respect the fact that he just was turning into a man. And, you know, I kind of lost my girlfriend. So he turned into a man. Anyway, so I teach connecting with teenagers, and it's always in their world, and they're changing. I'm going to read out my top 4 tips for parenting teenagers. It is my favorite age. I love teenagers. But once you understand them and know how to connect with them, they're hard to enjoy if you're still trying to parent them like they're 9. It's not like that. You've got to change how you parent. These are my top 4 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1 is you listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it, and they already know it anyway. Number 2 is you negotiate pretty much everything. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? Negotiate it. Shows respect. Number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. Or do you want to hear what I did this morning? It's okay to make mistakes. Allow them to be human, just like you are. Number 4 is don't leverage the good times to talk about the bad times. Like when I was playing PlayStation with my son, would I have brought up the fact, I really miss you these days? Because they don't want to hear that, right? So don't leverage the good times to talk about the bad times. Okay, that's my top 4 tips for parenting teenagers. By far, my favorite age. Because they're the most interesting, because they're older, they're smarter than us, their brain cells are at their peak, but they haven't started dying out. I'm 63. I think half my brain, I can hear it knocking around in there. It's all shriveled up. Okay, toddler tips. Okay, I'll read that out, and then I'm going to head out. My top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1, childproof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2 is set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3 is when you want to connect with a toddler, you do so in their world. You don't go to the nail salon with them. You go to the park and roll down the hill. They just look at you differently. Number 4 is you discipline a toddler in their world. They're all about actions, not words. You use consistent corrective actions. If they do something naughty, you remove the fun from them or them from the fun just for a few minutes. But you've got to be consistent. They don't remember when you did it right. They remember when you did it wrong. So just be consistent. Then they might remember when you did it right after a while. Anyway, number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They've got one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. They just haven't developed common sense yet. Okay, they'll get there eventually, but they're not there yet. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years, and the first year you were a potato laying on a mattress. Okay, so I got to go. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them now. My toddler one just came out a week ago, and then I've got the one for 3 to 12-year-olds. Or you can look into coaching. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. Happy parenting.